Now, just so you know, as we start out today, I've got a file here, and I'm going to send you this a little bit later today. But this is the rest of this week and next week. Okay? So today I'm going to continue on with that stock node app lecture. So as it says, given Friday, by Sunday, get me the ERD and the Sequila database stuff. Okay? If we have to, maybe we'll stop a little bit early today, even if we don't finish, so you can have an hour or so to work on that today. Hopefully at least you're kind of tying that up. On Monday, I'm going to do a Bootstrap lecture, and I think I showed you the project already. I guess I don't even have it open. But this is the one that we went back and kind of created as a class in the other class. So it looks like this. All right. And I'm going to do that with you. I've got the code for that for you. What I'm going to ask that you do then, after we do this, is make any changes you want to make. If I didn't put much background color, etc., in there. But right now, it's only got a home page. I want you to add an about page and a contact page because I just want to make sure you've got some more practice working with Bootstrap. All right. So that'll be one of the things that you'll be doing next week. All right. So on Monday, I'll lecture, probably take a good couple hours. The rest will be lab, and then you've got the rest of the week to work on that. Tuesday will be lab for the entire period. All right. Wednesday, Thursday, and if necessary, Friday. All right. We will be creating another app, but this app will be with Node and MySQL. All right, I'm not sure. I've got a couple of them. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use right now. I'll let you know that on Monday. All right, that will not be due until the following Sunday because I'm going to ask again that you make it your own, so to speak. All right, now I guess one thing I didn't write on here too is a week. I'll put that in here right now. So a week from Sunday, which is the 26th. Okay, that will be the stock note app will be due. Now, again, I'm going to show you mine in just a minute. And what I've been doing in here is just telling people to turn it in by 8 in the morning. All right. And I just kept the same time as like when the morning class starts. Oops. All right. So that hopefully shows you what we're going to be doing the rest of this week and next week. Now, this is my copy of the stock app. So what I'm giving you, I want to make sure you get this. We're going to look at it right now, okay? Just for a minute, and then we're going to go back and make our changes so that hopefully yours is going to look like this. I did not give you the images. So my about page has got this, and this, and this, and this. You don't have those, all right? You will have virtually everything else by the end of the period today. Well, either you've got the code there. Now, the code that I gave you, the code that I have was Bootstrap 4. I'm going to try to redo this in Bootstrap 5. I don't know how many changes, if any, we'll have to make. All right. But just so you can let a potential employer know, yeah, I know both Bootstrap 4 and Bootstrap 5. Okay. So what will this do? Well, again, you can already see it. Come on, go back to the home. Would you switch to the home page, please? I don't know why it's not, but so if I come in here and I put in like Google for Google and I hit enter, I think it's doing that because I think I've got the server off. Yes, I do. Error not found. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't like something I've got in there. I just ran it this morning and it worked just fine. So doesn't like something, but we'll work on that later, okay? All right. So I'm going to bring up the same files that you had yesterday. So yesterday we were working on this stock app node, and this is what we had, right? Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is in our public file right here, we really and truly don't need any of these. Okay, we don't need any of these HTML files. You'll see why in just a bit. So I'm going to get rid of those. Okay, but in the public file, oops, well, I guess I didn't hit delete. Now they're gone. But in the public file, I'd like you to add both a CSS folder and I'd like you to add a JS folder. We're not going to put any JavaScript in here, any client-side JavaScript. But in your CSS folder, I'd like you to create a file called styles.css. No, not a folder, call it a file, call that, Jeff. So make a file. So new text document. Styles.css. Yes, we want that. And I'm going to open this up in code in just a second. So again, what we have done in here so far is I came in here and I got in my public folder, all right, in my public folder, I removed virtually, the stuff that from the stuff that was in there. I removed almost everything, but I added a CSS folder with a file in there called styles.css and a JS folder, which we're probably going to leave empty. All right. Then if you would please open up this styles folder. All right. And I'm going to give you the code. We're going to put it in here right now. So it's about 30 lines of typing, but it should go hopefully pretty fast. And with some of this, if you say, why did you do this? Literally, I rewrote this summer, and I tried to make it look more decent than it looked. So that's why if you said, well, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Just mainly they were for aesthetic type of reasons. Bottle. So how did I lose that? 7. That must be why. AC32. That's interesting. I don't know why that 4 is in there. That's what I wanted. And color white. Give you a second to catch back up. That's about half of it right there. So. I think during the break I will send you my image files because one of the things I'm going to allude to in here, yours isn't going to work because you don't have that image. And I'll show you that just a bit. Does everybody have all this so far? Good. All right. This is the thing you don't have, so I will give this to you in a bit. It won't hurt anything. Oh, it doesn't like my pad. No, we'll see. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And then all that's left is the footer stuff, so. That's everything. Again, you don't have this, so I will send that to you during the break, okay? Everybody's got all that? Then just save, please. And you can close this. All right. The next thing I'd like us to do is bring up server.js, and I'm going to show you a couple shortcuts that we can use in here that are just going to make our life a little bit easier. All right. So, I don't want these constants in here anymore. That was just to show you that yesterday, so that's no biggie. All right, there's my primary key. So I have constant, express, path, request. Okay, we're going to add one more constant in here. What we want to be able to do is in that search box, that if you saw that in mine where I could enter like FB for Facebook or GOOG, that's a form. And I want to be able to grab the information from the form. Well, the way that that's referred to is I want to be able to parse the information in that form. And the way that you do that in Node is you add, and I don't know if you even need this anymore. I think it's built in, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. So require body parser. All right. So I added line 6 as far as what's in there. I think everything else that's in there is just fine. Now again, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, you know, we could put a comment in there that said what these constants mean. And so these are basically, again, Most of this stuff is stuff that we had to go and bring in from Node Package Manager. Okay, I think you'd agree with that. Now, I believe, like I said, the body parser. Don't move yours around. I just want to show you something here. That's why I'm doing this. All right. All right. So these first two, those are core modules. So again, since they're core modules, you don't have to install them. I just want to make sure that you're cool with the difference between a core module and an NPM module. With an NPM module, it's in the Node Package Manager, so you have to install it separately. Okay? All right, so there's 5 things in here that we, for lack of better words, installed, directly or indirectly. Then here we came in and we created our new instance of Express, and here we set the port. All right? Now I'm asking, because I don't know, are there any questions on any of that stuff through line 11? Any questions? No? Okay. All right, then I'm going to come down and I'm going to add something else here. Now, if you want to be able to use the body parser, just like we did in app.use here, all right, it's another app.use. So it's app.use. I don't know what that did. App.use. And it is body parser. And you've got to do this. I have gone and looked all over the place for a good explanation of what this is, and I've yet to find it. All right. Most places will say, hey, it's just boilerplate code. You don't need to worry about it. Just put it in because you need it. And it's like that. So it is app.use. And there's probably going to be another paren there. App.use body parser .url encoded extended false. Like I said, I've gone out to Stack Overflow and looked it up, and I found differing explanations of what it is, why it is. It's boilerplate code that you need to add to be able to use body parser to be able to take a form and grab its individual components. I have tried it both with app.use equal false and with app.use equal true. I've tried it both ways, and it works both ways. So I can't figure out the difference between true and false. All right. All right. So we set our engine in here, and this is where I've forgotten about this. There's sort of a shortcut here, just so you know. And this is a way I'm going to show it to you. So we're going to change this line, this app dot, the app dot set will leave as it is, but we'll change the app dot engine. And the reason that we're going to change it is after we make this change, instead of having to put and create our files and have them have that handlebars extension like we did yesterday, we'll only need an HBS. All right, which just makes them a little easier to write with a 3-character extension. All right, so I'm going to make a couple changes. I'm going to grab this whole app.engine line, and for right now, I'm just going to cut it. All right, and I'm going to replace it with this. So app.engine, and now I think, well, we'll talk about it in a second. So app.engine, and we're going to put in here HBS handlebars. All right, just 2 lines. Now, please look on the screen for a second, even if you're still typing. When we do this, we're referencing HBS right here. The system has no idea right now, it has no idea what HBS means. So what we have to do is two things. First, we're going to change this handlebars to HBS. Okay, see what I did? I changed the word handlebars on the app.set from handlebars to HBS, and we're going to take the line, we're going to cut it, and we're going to move it up above so it looks just like this. I'll give you a second to do that. Everybody got that? All right, I'm just going to save. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to get any errors when I run this or not, but what I'd like you to do is from over here, it still looks like it doesn't like something, so I'll have to see if I can fix that. No, that's the old one, so I'm just going to get rid of this and start this up again. So, stopgap node. One thing, and I've done a little reading on this, but I'm not sure why. What's going to probably happen to you sooner or later is you're going to sit there and you're going to write an app and you're going to tell it to listen on port, let's say 5,000. All right. And then you're going to start working on something else. So you're going to shut this thing down and you're going to bring it back up again. And it'll tell you port 5,000 is already in use, even though you've shut it down. If that happens, just change the number. So like make it, instead of 5,000, make it 49.99. It's not going to hurt anything. All right. So I'm going to come in here and see if I do my NP. Do I have? I'm going to double check in here. So give me just a second. You don't have to do this. I'm just looking for my own edification here. So, okay, I do have it in there. And we did put dev. Okay. So I'm going to start the server back up again with npm run dev. And you can see, well, it doesn't like something. It's required. Oh, okay. All right. None of you caught this. I didn't catch it. But where we put in body parser right here, what's the problem? Every other one of these is in single quotes. That isn't. See that? I should have noticed that because it was blackened still in color. So make sure this line that we put in, put body parser in single quotes. Okay? All right. Okay, it still doesn't like something. Cannot find module body parser. All right. I didn't think, I was told we don't have to require that or install that anymore. But let's do that. Let's go back in here and install it. So come back into here, clear, and let's do an npm I body, I think it's body hyphen parser. If I get an error in it, then I did it wrong. Okay. npm body hyphen parser.
Okay. Is that then the I?
npm I.
Okay.
So, sorry, I wish I could get so it was a little bit better focused. So I'm going to try it again now. Clear npm run dev. Holy moly, cannot find module body parser. Okay, body. Let's see if that, I don't think that's going to fix it. Let's see, const body. Well, let's look. Should have done this to begin with. Well, that could be my problem. It says I have no internet connection right now. So it threw me into airplane mode. And it's not, it says, what is going on here? Okay, says I'm connected now. So let's just try typing in body parser. All right, so npm I body hyphen parser. So there it is. Copy that. So again, it's npm I body hyphen parser. Now that should work. It should already actually be in there, but that's fine. All right, so clear. And since I gave it to you incorrectly, this will have to be body like that. Okay, it doesn't like hyphens in the name here. Remember, does this make sense to everybody? If you this stuff that's in here, those are JavaScript variables. Most of the time, JavaScript variables never have a hyphen in them because JavaScript looks at the hyphen and thinks that it's a minus sign. So it actually was trying to subtract parser from body. Okay, but this should work just fine. All right. Yeah, I've got a, we'll get this fixed in just a minute. Okay, so port.use import body parser. No, we've already added it. So const body parser equals require body hyphen part. That's correct. Trying to figure out why it's doing that. I mean, I've got my working code right here, and that's exactly how I did it. So const body parser equals require body. Yeah, that's correct. Use body parser. That's correct too. Okay, that's good because now it's gotten all the way to app.engine. So it's all the way to down here before it's okay. And Jeff showed he couldn't spell. It's not handlebars. You probably spelled yours correctly. I didn't. So what's it telling me now? Handlebars is not defined. Good golly. Probably should have given you a quick break when we started this, but I didn't. So app.set view engine HBS, that is correct. App.engine HBS handlebars, isn't that the way we refer to that? We called it this. We called it this. Okay, we're going to go through the whole thing all over again. in just 1 second. Should fix it. Okay, taking it from the top. All right, we brought body parser in so that we were able to parse our form. Okay, all right. We're bringing in request. If you didn't have this line previously, make sure you put that line in there. Request actually is deprecated. It's an older method. Today they recommend you use either node-fetch or Axios or something else. I know it works, all right, because I used it on the old version of this program. So we're just going to use it now. We'll use something else in the future. Now, this starts up our instance of Express. All right, this is what we're called. I'm sorry. This is basically our request Express, and this is the handlebars. The reason I got an error is when I did it down here, I tried calling that handlebars because previously I'd called it handlebars up here. See this? The reason I changed it from handlebars up here to EXP HBS is that's what they recommend in the documentation. You understand? So I changed it in one place. I forgot to change it in the other place. Okay? All right. No one to blame on that but me. So, all right. Now I want to see. I don't know if I make this bigger, if it'll be easier to read or not. So. Good golly. Everything worked this morning and nothing's working. Oh, that's why I'm getting that. See that says ports already in use? Nothing else is running. So I don't understand why it's saying that, but again, all I have to do is to go back here and change this from port 5000 to something else. All right, so I'll just make it 4567. It doesn't matter what I make it, but it should be a number. Typically, I think it's a number between like 1000 and 99.99 or something like that. So I made that up. There's nothing special. You don't have to change yours. If yours is working, don't change it. If it isn't working, yeah, you'll have to change it. Run dev. So finally, do I have a running thing? No. Yes. Now, I've got stuff here that you don't have yet. You will have it in a minute. Did you hear me? The system now went out. Look on the screen, please. The system now went out yesterday when I had you go out under that IXP cloud thing. It went out there and it grabbed this information. This is information about Facebook. All right, such as open time, close time, volumes, latest price. There'll be something in there for the 52-week high, the 52-week low, etc. Does that all make sense? All right. Now, I want to fix this so you have that stuff. If you did not already do this, and you probably didn't from yesterday, so do an npm I request. If you did not do that yesterday, again, my guess is you probably didn't. All right. Can somebody tell me, how would you know whether or not you did it? What's an easy way to figure out whether or not you have it already included or not? The answer is you look in your package.json file and see if it's in there, all right, as a dependency. Okay, otherwise you put this in. So let me look, because I don't think I need it. So I'm going in my package.json, and there's request. I think you can already tell by looking at this, it puts them in an alphabetic order. All right, and the recommendation, I don't know if it would hurt if you would change that. Probably not, but might as well just keep it in alphabetic order. All right, okay. So I want to go back into my server.js. Everybody said you were all cool in here. I think what it's trying to tell me again is that I'm using something that's deprecated. It still works. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but they're saying it's kind of like when we were working in CSS and a lot of the tags that you saw were red and they said that they were deprecated and you should replace them with something else. Well, we're going to learn all the stuff to replace them with. We are going to be going over all of it. But is everybody cool at least up to line 22? Yes? Again, take a quick look if you have to do so. So what we did previously was we went in and, for lack of better words, kind of declared all of our variables. Now they're constants, but you get the idea. Then here we said, because we're going to use body parser, we have to add this URL encoded statement. This says that all of our static stuff, so our CSS, our client-side JavaScript, image files, etc., all that stuff must be in the public folder. Does that all make sense? All right. Then going down to line 16 here, move that up. In line 16, we're letting the system know, all right, that the view engine that we're using is HBS. Now we may have to even flip these. I don't know why. I'm looking at it and I'm wondering why mine worked, but I guess it doesn't care. Usually what JavaScript does is it does what's called hoisting, which means it goes through your entire program and it says, oh, if there's variables or the like, it kind of, even if they're declared at the bottom, it, for lack of better words, kind of throws them up at the top. That's why I think this is working. So the engine is this, and that is referring to this, which is our view engine, HBS for handlebars, okay? And we're telling it here that the layouts directory is going to be under whatever we call the program, stock app node /views/layouts. Does that make sense? And we're letting it know that the extension name is HBS. So we're going to change those extensions in a bit. All right, so then we get down to here. All right. Now, you probably don't have this stuff yet. Don't worry about typing it in yet. All right, I'm going to give you plenty of time to type it in. But so this is saying that when we put in the slash, what we want to have happen is we want it to render whatever is in home.handlebars. Does that make sense? All right. Let's go in, and with these two files that we have right here, the home.handlebars and the main.handlebars, let's right mouse click on the home.handlebars file in here. Try it again. I gotta find it here. Right click on home.handlebars and choose rename. All you want to do for the rename is, instead of handlebars, you want to put HBS there. Notice it still recognizes it. It's still got the little mustache symbol on there, etc. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing to main.handlebars. So I'm going to right mouse click on this, do a rename, and change this to main.hbs. All right? So I've changed both of those. Okay. Now, jumping back into our server file then. We're telling it that when we put in the slash, we want it to render whatever is in the home.hbs file. You said you understood that. All right. So let me take this. I don't know how well it's going to resonate, but let me put word wrap on there. Now, I'm going to give you a second to do this, but please don't type in what I have because it won't work. What you have to type in right here, between here and here, is your public key. You understand that? But I don't know if we did this yesterday or not. I don't remember. But this is saying we want to request from this URL right here a stock. What stock? Facebook. We're just hard coding it in right now. We'll change that later. But for now, we're just hard coding it in. Then afterwards, we want a Facebook quote. Then we get the question mark. This, everything that's here, is the query string. So we're saying the token, because it needs a token, is our public key. It's going to return JSON, and one of three things is going to happen. All right? There's really one of two things. It could error out. If instead of FB right there, I put FF, and if there wasn't any stock that was referred to as FF, I'd get an error. Does that make sense? All right. Res is the result. So ideally, we're going to be able to see this in our body, okay? And body is just that. It's the body of what's being returned. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to type that in, but you can go, if you would, yeah, just go all the way down here to line 34, all right? Then we'll go over the rest of it in just a minute. Do all of you know what a Discord channel is? Okay, you do. Do you two know what it is?
I don't use Discord at all.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Okay. The reason I'm mentioning that to you is my morning people have created their own Discord group. And when they're having questions at night, whatever, and somebody's on, they're even doing a little bit of studying together online. That's just something that, because I talked about that study group, nobody in the morning talked to me about it, none of you did, which is totally fine. But it's my responsibility to bring that up to you. But if one of you wants to create a Discord channel, you could do that. And then you'd be able to swap information. And, the other reason I'm saying that is a person who might really like that would be Gabriel. All right, since he's falling behind. I'm still hopeful that he'll be back sometime early next week. All right, if you look up on the screen, this says if there is an error, show it in the console. So I'm going to put an error in my code in just a minute. Did you hear that? I'm going to purposely put an error in here. All right, this says if the status code was 200, show me everything that got returned from there. Does all that make sense? Now, like I said, I'm going to purposely put an error in here. I'm going to put in FF, and I'm going to save this. All right, then I'm going to come back to here, not to there. I'm going to come back to here. All right, and I'm going to start the server up again. So npm run dev. All right, and it did work, but someplace or at least when I try to use it later, it's going to give me an error. Either that or what it did, well, let's see. I mean, it's possible. There is one called FF. Yeah, wouldn't that just be my luck, right? I try to show you an error and I still wasn't wrong. So let's try it again. And we'll come in here and we'll put in ZZZ. There probably isn't one called ZZZ. Well, it's not giving me an error because I haven't tried to use it yet. All right. But with yours, hopefully at least, when we put this back to FB and I save, this is saying again, if there's an error, just print it out. If it returns success, give me what's in the body. All right. So when I come back to here, it restarted the server. And you can see the stuff that's in here. Does that make sense? Now, it's going to be up to you to look through this stuff and figure out what you actually want to show the user from it. All right? And again, I will show you mine in a little bit. But the other thing, too, is it would be kind of nice if you would, this is formatted nicely. 373.06, that's formatted nicely. But these things like the market cap, I believe that the market cap is how much the company is worth. That's not really formatted. It's hard to even tell that's a number. But what I'd like you to do, and this is going to involve a little bit of looking on your part, I want this to look professional. In other words, if you find things that are percentages, So let's say it came out like 0.038%. You with me? So really, what is that? That's 3.8%, right? So you should multiply it by 100 so it looks decent. If somebody has to figure out something like this year-to-date change, that's just not easy to do. All right? It would be much easier if this is 34% for you to just multiply it by 100 and then show the result. Is what I'm saying make sense? And you probably want to do like a 2 fixed and do it with, maybe the 2 decimal places or whatever. All right. So I'm expecting that you'd be able to do that for both percentage fields and dollar fields. If you're not sure what a field is, and I don't know what half this stuff in here is, then just look it up. You should be able to look up what it all is. Did your stuff print out? No and yes. And did yours, Christopher?
Yeah, I got it. What you have?
Yeah. And you didn't? Did you get an error?
It says, app crash waiting for file changes before starting, so I'm not
Okay.
sure what it is.
All right. Well, the first thing is, are you sure you put your key in correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, can you go down? Is that where you, I take it that's where you, there. Because I'd like us, before we go on, I'd like us to make sure everybody's works, so. Do you have a space there before the word token? Okay, I don't. It went over 2 lines, that was why.
Okay.
See if that fixed it. No. Okay, so let's, can you go up a little bit on your, make your terminal bigger so you see if it's the same error or if it's something different. So you have to just click it there and then arrow up.
Okay.
See what it says. Here. Okay, you started it up again, so it's down here someplace. Stop. Okay, usually when you have that, it's what you want to make sure, I want to make sure, is that everything you've got is in the right order. Because it may have tried to send the headers before it got the information, so.
Okay.
Just take a look from the top and make sure that everything, that you're not missing anything or whatever, because that's such a generic error. It can be from a lot of different things. And again, like you said, you didn't put this in, right? You put in your key.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm okay. So everything looks good up till that point?
Yeah. have everything at the back. It's still.
Did you change the extensions of those two handlebar files?
I did.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, why don't you just take a break? It's 1 o'clock, so just let's come back at 1:15 and we'll see. I want to get hers working before we start up again. So let me take this and I'm gonna